Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. And this show is brought to you by DraftKings. Every Thursday, Nigel Seeley joins the program to go over his best bets in the Prim and maybe some of the lower leagues as well. Nigel, happy holidays. Good to talk to you as always, mate. Let's begin here. It has been a struggle for you throughout the soccer season here of 2023 since it restarted back in August. Why have you been able to identify maybe a reason, but also like when you come on and it's Man City -2 goals and they're up 2-0 in the 75th minute, and it's, you know, a typical Man City team from years past, they're going to put their foot down on that team, on the pedal here, on the gas pedal, and it's going to be 3-0 or 4-0 before you blink. That result is a 2-2 draw. So what do you think has been going wrong for you?
Oh, hello, guys. Thank you very much, and happy holidays to you as well, and happy holidays to all the viewers and listeners here on VSiN this morning. I think it's variance. I think this is a long-term project. You know, I've been coming on this show for how many years now? 6 years, maybe?
Yep.
I think if anybody who watched or listened to anything I've given in those 6 years period of time would have made a very healthy profit, would have been in front on some of the futures that we've had, some of the World Cup picks we've had, some of the tennis picks we've had, some of the golf picks we've had. But obviously, like anything, you go through a period of time where things don't run right. You know, you could be the best card player in the world and you can have a bad run. And that's what's happening here at the moment in the Premier League. I don't think there's anything specific that I would look at and say, you know, this is the reason why. I just think it's just running bad. I think Manchester City are going through a transitional period at the moment. Maybe just leave them. Last week I thought they might come good because of the injuries at Crystal Palace. It wasn't to be. But one thing I will say is that if you had followed, I've got my little magic computer in front of me here. If you had followed my bets this year, I've had 766 bets this year on my service that I provide, and I'm 28.60 units up on that's tennis and football combined. Now, when I come onto this show, I've had a lot of criticism and a lot of people who ask me, but I front everything up. You asked me for 3 bets. Mm-hmm. I have to specifically give 3 bets and 3 bets in the Premier League. Some of my stuff I might be betting on League One, League Two. I have to find 3 bets on the Premier League. The Premier League this year has been really hard. League One, League Two has been pretty good to me. So other leagues have been pretty bad. So it's just a run. Sometimes the League One might not go so good. Sometimes the League Two might go so good. And sometimes the Premier League might go well. I'm not concerned. And I've done it an awful long time. But one thing and the other thing I would add to that is that it's very rare that I ever am in front by a huge amount coming into Christmas. Because I feel the first 3 or 4 months, I've said to you many times on this show before, if I didn't do what I did and I didn't come on these shows, I probably wouldn't have a bet until November. So the first 2 months, you're sort of guessing a little bit how things are going to go. I always say judge me on the season, and I feel that January, February, March, April is when you really get an idea of where things are going. Teams that suddenly lack motivation, teams that really do who need everything, who play a little bit better. And it's traditionally where I make most of my money. So, yes, it's been a bad run. Has it been a bad run over 6 years? No. Has it been a bad year? No. Has it, you've got to remember this time last year, I was sitting on this show giving you Argentina to win the World Cup and Lionel Messi to be the player of the tournament at 10-1. So, a lot of bettors have got memories like goldfish. Just have a memory like an elephant.
Yeah. I like what you said.
Good answer.
Great answer. Also, if you look at what's happened on the season thus far, if you're giving out 16 units a week and you're down 20-some units, so you could say, well, it's
that's
a bad
20 units on soccer since August. We're 28 units up on the calendar year. But it's a bad run. But I remember the year of the COVID, I was 100 units down.
Yeah,
and I still made profit. So we got some great futures. I'm not too worried. I don't think anyone else should be worried. If you can find someone better, get them. I just genuinely mean that. I mean that honestly. I just feel that it's a bad run and things happen.
It happens.
You go through bad runs. You just got to. You shouldn't stake too much. You shouldn't stake too much. You should stake within your bank, and you should just ride the waves and then ride the good times.
No, good point about managing the bankroll too. You also, the last 2 years, I've been pleasantly surprised. DraftKings, William Hill, FanDuel, all these places have League One, League Two now. So that's the other great thing that's been great. Let's look at a League One match tomorrow. And this is great. With the exception of Christmas, we got matches every day. Are you strong on Cambridge tomorrow?
There's a few bets I like, but this is probably one of my strongest bets of the weekend. I mean, Cambridge are a side that have always been traditionally very good at home. They've had a manager called Mark Bonner who's been there a long, long time. The board made a really tough decision to get rid of Mark Bonner. Cambridge have a sloping pitch. Not many people would realise. They've leveled it out a little bit, but it's a very, very sloping pitch. And usually they have a really good advantage at home. A lot of teams don't like going to Cambridge. The weather over in England is really windy, wet. Over the next couple of days, Cambridge are probably one of the most physical teams in the Football League. So they're going to be in your face. The conditions are going to suit them. They play an Exeter side that are struggling. They got rid of their manager. They brought in a guy called Neil Harris, who was a manager at Gillingham. He likes to play a real direct style. Their last 6 matches at home have resulted in 5 wins and 1 loss. Their last match at home, they beat Blackpool, a team doing really, really well. And under Harris, they're starting to turning the things around. Exeter have only won once in their last 15. They've lost 5 of their last 7 road matches, and they've lost 6 of their last 7 road matches and failed to score in 5 of them. They've been beaten 7-0 by Bolton and 9-0 by Reading this season already. And I think with a new manager, with conditions, and at home, I think Cambridge at plus 110, a very nice price to beat Exeter this week.
Okay,
tomorrow.
Premier League match today, tomorrow, and then a great schedule Saturday. Your big one is Liverpool against Arsenal. What a race. Arsenal 39 points, Liverpool 38, Villa 38, City dumping that game against Palace down to 34. How do you see the big matchup Saturday, Liverpool-Arsenal?
Well, I think everyone who's a statistical bettor will be looking at the overs. You look at this match here, there's been the last 10 years, 7 wins for Arsenal at this fixture and 3 draws. 46 goals scored in those 10 matches. Every single match has gone over 3.5 goals. But in those matches, a lot of the games were irrelevant. Arsenal and Liverpool weren't competing for the Premier League title. Arsenal and Liverpool weren't competing for the Premier League title. Manchester City and Liverpool were, Chelsea were, Manchester United were. This is the first time that these two sides are playing a game which really is important at the top of the Premier League title. So I think that might have a little bit of a role reversal. I think the lines makers have gone massively on the overs because of the tradition and the history. But I think unders here, given the state of the match, is a huge, huge match. I think it's a match that Arsenal do not want to lose. I think a draw is a good result. I think both teams, given that Manchester City aren't playing this weekend, will look at it as a point more on Manchester City. I quite like the draw in the money line, but I want to go under 2.5 goals. And I know there's been a lot of history between these two sides, and I know it's a season of goals. I know it's a season with the overs cashing. But if you look at the really big matches in the Premier League, the teams, real big mains, Man City v Arsenal, 1-0, Liverpool, 1-0, Newcastle, all these matches have been really, really close. Man City v Aston Villa last week, 1-0. The big games, because they realise they're in a title battle, are cagey. So I think the line is a plus. I think it's plus 116 under 2.5 goals. I think that's only because of the recent trends of the last 10 years between these sides and hasn't taken into the account the importance of this fixture. And when these two sides played 6 years ago, it was 4-0 or 3-1 or 4-4. None of these sides were ever in contention, the two of them at the same time, to win the Premier League title. They both are now. And probably, as we stand on current form, these are the best two teams in the English Premier League.
So as of right now, I think we ask you this like every single week or every other week. Who do you think actually ends up winning the Prem? Because this is really fascinating to watch with Man City.
Well, I think they're a fade. I think they're a huge fade. I think everything has to go perfectly well for Manchester City like it did last season. They have to go on an unbelievable winning run. Uh-huh. Can they do that again? It's very, very hard to see that happening. Haaland is injured. Mm-hmm. De Bruyne is injured. I mean, just put yourself in. If any other club in this shake-up was in Manchester City's position now, they'd probably be 10-1 to win the Premier League title. Oh. The fact that it's Manchester, if Man City were in, say Liverpool were in Man City's position and Man City were in Liverpool's, they've swapped positions, they would be probably 10-1 shot. This is everyone expecting them to come good. They may not do it. No side has ever won 4 Premier League titles. No one. So they're bidding to make history. I still think Aston Villa are value. If you look at their run of fixtures up to April, I think it's March time, they don't play anybody of any. I think the toughest match they play is they play Manchester United and they play Newcastle, and they've got all the teams at the bottom of the table. If you're looking for a tradable price and you're looking for some value, to get them at 16-1. I said it last week, I said it the week before. I still think they're major players in this title, and they could be top at Christmas. And I think it's something like 44% of teams that have been top at Christmas in the Premier League will go on to win the Premier League title.
That was alarming, what happened Saturday. 2-0 at home in the 75th minute against Crystal Palace?
Against Crystal Palace. That's the key thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a tweet earlier asking, you brought up De Bruyne and the injury. Now, the league leader in assists, there are a bunch of guys tied for 7. You can find him at 125-1 in that range to lead the Prem in assists. Would that be worth pizza money at all, or is it just not happening this year?
I don't think it's happening. They've got some really, really important games to play against the big sides, and I think they'll save him. They're still in the Champions League as well. Where you want the assists is against the teams at the bottom of the Premier League, the teams towards the bottom. So he's missed a lot of football. The player I would take out of that, and I think he's getting better and better each week, is Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool. I think if Liverpool have a run at home, Liverpool are scoring 4 or 5 goals, and Trent Alexander-Arnold is an absolute powerhouse on the assists, and I think he's the one you want to have on that.
Okay. That was awesome. By the way, great perspective again.
Yeah.
That was really, you're right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I mean, it happens. You go on.
Listen, I understand. Well, listen, I'm in the nature to be, I give the boom, I give the shout out when we win, and my nature of the business to be shot down when we lose. But the thing is, stick with it. You won't go wrong. We'll have losing weeks. You won't have losing seasons. Trust me.
Follow him on X at Seeley_Nigel.
Well done.
Merry Christmas, mate.
And you guys.
Thank you.
Be good. Up next, we'll look at tonight's playoff, big game with playoff implications in the NFL here on VSiN.
Juice Reel, a free betting intelligence app and a tool every bettor needs. It links your betting accounts into one app, delivers in-depth analytics on your betting history, and there's much more. Access to the betting history of billions of bets placed by all Juice Reel users. In-depth betting analytics, billions of data points enables you to tail the winners and fade the losers. It's also developed a AI bot hitting 60% through more than 100 games. Find out for yourself. Download Juice Reel, R-E-E-L. Free app in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Free Juice Reel, R-E-E-L. Keep them coming. FTM at VSiN.com. Tweet at us as well. Etiquette and things you would like changed for the new year. This kind of stuff can affect friendships. The guy who had Miami in Survivor, and in the fourth quarter, his buddy says, "Who you taking next week?" As they're up 14 in the fourth quarter.
What do you do at that point? What's your reaction?
It's just...
do you respond to the person? Do you tell him to bleep off? Do you just cut him off for a while?
Talking about a lot of money.
27-13. It looks like the game's over with, but you don't do that.
Yeah.
You let it breathe, man. You let it play out and finish until zeros are on the clock. I don't know. I don't have these people never. Are they such novices that they just don't get it at all?
Remember Rick Esposito, the machine?
Yeah.
I had Kansas on a big ticket final. Who was their guard? What, remember? Sharon, I forgot the point guard. But they were going to the Elite Eight, and they were up 8 with like 5 minutes left against Michigan State and Izzo. And he sent me the text about it looking good, and they lost the game. That was the year Louisville was a 1 seed with Pitino.
Okay.
And then Michigan State beat Kansas, and then beat, I think that was the North Carolina team, whatever it was. But
yep.
That's 5 minutes left in a game. I don't think that's it. I don't think I scored the rest of the game.
Getting feedback on Nigel as well. Yeah, bad run. He admits it, by the way. I mean, he's now one of these people who will pretend like he hits every single bet that he makes. That's not happening here on this show or with him ever. Jeff on Twitter says, to Nigel's points, if you are serious about sports gambling and think there aren't going to be bad runs, you should not. You should find something else to do with your time. Yes, and to Nigel's point, and I'll back it up here, he comes on our show once a week for a 10-minute segment, and he gives out like 2 or 3 plays. So what about the rest of the week when he does a zillion other things and he's giving out up to like 16 units and plays on a weekly basis?
Yep.
Yes, bad run. And that also ties into like, it doesn't matter what part of the show you're listening to VSiN. It could be our show. It could be the next show with Gil. It could be Lombardi Line, whatever show you're listening to. If you pop in for 10 minutes once a day and the person on at that point makes a case for like 2 or 3 games, and you bet them, and it's a bad day, and you say to yourself, well, what an idiot, I can never bet that guy's plays ever again. No. I can't help you then.
Sharon Collins was the point guard. Great reaction text already. That's why I'm trying to drive this home, though, about League One, League Two is available everywhere.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
He's incredible at
with the lower leagues. So don't
yeah.
be afraid to give that out because the books are so good now with what they offer in the soccer markets.
Yeah. Now, I don't know the logistics to every state, but we're talking about things that you want to see change in sports betting in 2024. We got a tweet a little bit earlier. In the state of Mississippi, it's still all brick and mortar. No mobile betting yet, and they've been legal since 2018. Yeah. That is brutal. You absolutely have to get with the times on that.
You on the Rams tonight? I know you got your future ticket plus 240.
So how do I look at that then? Do I add more here on the Rams in this game when I bet them to make the playoffs a couple of weeks back at 240? I will say this about the current playoff odds. They're minus 125 at DraftKings. Pro Football Focus makes the Rams around 66% to make the playoffs with a win tonight. So if they do win, and if you have strong conviction on the Rams that they're going to win and maybe cover this game, 66% after this game would be a 194 bet on the money line, minus 194. So if you think they're going to win tonight, then I would suggest that you actually lay minus 125 to make the playoffs, because that would be looking at a good number after the game if you're falling into that boat. I don't like them as much as you do. The road thing has been real for the Saints now, going back again, longer sample size.
Right. Not this year, though.
Not this year in particular, but
there's one thing here. They have the same record, but the Rams are hot. They're a dynamic offense, and what he's doing with Puka, Kupp, and the emergence of Williams here, what a story. But I wouldn't want to see these guys in the playoffs, and they've won 4 or 5, and the loss was in overtime to Baltimore, which they blew the game, and then they didn't call the 2 blocks in the back on a kickoff, or on the punt return. It's also alarming for the Saints to be 7-7 with the easiest schedule in football. You have 3 road wins. 2 of them are against New England. And I'm blanking now. Who was the other easy? Oh, Carolina and Bryce Young.
That's right.
So Carr continues to turn it over. He was good last week, but it was the Giants. And I would say in a big spot, I don't trust him, and I think the turnover will happen tonight.
Yeah.
So I love the Rams at home, and I love that McVay is on a 10-1-1 ATS run in December, and they know what's on the line and what's at stake here.
We talked about this in the previous hour. The quarterbacks the Saints have played so far this year, you can't make this up, how bad the list is. It's as bad as you're ever going to see. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why people like the Saints this year, because somebody has to win the division. It was the easiest schedule along with Atlanta going into the year, and you knew ahead of time the quarterbacks they were going to face. But then they've also faced like backups or third-string guys because of injuries to other quarterbacks. Now, with that in mind, their passing defensive numbers, it looks pretty good. Again, DVOA, they are 13th overall, but 8th against the pass, 24th against the ground game.
That's bad.
And that's
200 yards, 2 of the last 4.
And now
Williams is hot.
And yeah, that's exactly right. You have this guy entering tonight who is on a scorcher. And as I said earlier, he might be responsible for winning fantasy leagues.
Yeah, and I like how they came out last week. Not that they closed, but they're up 28-7 in a game they had to have against Washington. So, and then you saw, again, back-to-back games for 100 yards for Kupp. You also have Jordan, who's banged up and compromised for the Saints, too, which could be a problem. The other thing, you've mentioned this. They don't like Carr. You can tell. And Carr's a fake leader, fake tough guy, phony. I would have made the change weeks ago and put Winston in there. So always yelling at a wide receiver, always miscommunication.
Always on the wrong page.
Yep. There's always communication issues, it seems.
Yeah, when you have video of that offensive lineman coming off the field and he's basically in a screaming match with Derek Carr, again, how often does that actually happen? When they're not even off the field yet. They're still on the football field, and this guy's going nuts screaming at the guy. So I think there's something amiss there as well, where the teammates don't particularly like the guy. And I could see him, again, if Aaron Donald is going to... The Saints' offensive line is ranked 21st at Pro Football Focus going into this week. If Aaron Donald, projecting ahead to this game tonight, can really cause some havoc and be in the backfield, that probably means that it's going to be a long night for Derek Carr. And I could absolutely see him making an errant pass, a silly forced throw, gets picked off, puts the Rams in good field position. You also have, again, the coaching edge and the quarterback edge overall in this game clearly on one side to the Rams.
Yeah. So I think they win. What would you do if you're Shanahan week 18?
That's a very...
Because the whole key to this bet is also what is I think they win tonight. They should take out the Giants. The Vikings have them in tiebreakers with conference record. I don't know if the Vikings are going to win 9 games. But what makes this bet's a layup is if San Francisco sits people in week 18.
Yep. I don't
know what he's going to do.
With only one team getting a bye week now, and that loss for the Niners to get the 1 seed overall, the loss by the Eagles on Monday night was so big because now they have just...
Well, they could lose on Christmas, I guess, but sure. I think the Niners will beat the Ravens.
But they still have tiebreakers. Even with the loss against the Ravens,
they have the head-to-head.
They have the head-to-head tiebreakers over the Eagles and the Cowboys at that point. So assuming that they have the 1 seed locked up going into Week 18, I don't think you can sit the starters for the entire game. I hate that idea. Because then you're talking about
2 weeks off.
You're resting all the way from the end of Week 17, that game, until your first playoff game, which comes after a bye week. That is a lengthy break.
If I have the chance to knock them out, I think I go for it. I'm not afraid of Minnesota, even though they beat them, but that was with Cousins. I wouldn't be afraid of Atlanta or New Orleans or Seattle. They own Seattle. They blew them out both. I mean, if I could, the Rams game was the infamous kick the field goal to put it on 7 at the gun. But
sure.
If I'm Shanahan, if I could knock the Rams out, I would. Well, even though he's dominated them and old McVay.
Yeah, when you look at all these teams that are tied right now at 7-7, this would be the last team I'd want to play for any team.
Yes.
Any of them. Who's going to be the quarterback for the Vikings in the playoffs if they make it?
It's going to be Mullins.
It's going to have to be Mullins, right?
Yeah. But
the Seahawks at DraftKings, by the way, are minus 160 to make the playoffs.
That's outrageous. Outrageous.
It's way too high.
Are they going to beat the Titans?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it could be Tannehill, though.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
I think their chances improve to win that game.
Are we sure they're going to beat the Steelers at home? I mean, it's a tough schedule.
I know.
Because, again, it's going to be funky with tiebreakers, but 170s, 160s, way too high.
I would agree with that. It's a big, big game tonight, clearly. And by the way, on the flip side, if the Saints win, Pro Football Focus makes them higher than 70% to make the playoffs. With a loss, they're around 22-23%. Up next, college football. Professional sports bettor Brad Power is going to join the show. A lengthy card of games to hit this week, and he's a big volume bettor. Is he treading lightly after this week?
Looking to bet smarter? VSiN has the perfect holiday gift for you. Sign up our holiday special today. Get VSiN Pro access to everything we do through May 1st for only $80. Unlimited access to the daily best bets, exclusive betting splits, premium analysis, 24/7 video, all the betting guides, limited time holiday offer. VSiN.com/subscribe. VSiN.com/subscribe. Go get it.
Bowl betting here with professional sports bettor Brad Powers. His website is bradpowersports.com. He is on X at BradPower7. Happy holidays, Brad. How are you today?
All right. Good to see you guys. Happy holidays to you.
You too, sir.
So you are a big bettor. You're a volume bettor on top of that. In bowl season, I think probably used to be your favorite time of the year, or one of your favorite times of the year to bet any sport, right? Because it was all about information at the time, motivation. You could probably decipher what was going to happen between the matchups that you were going to get. With what has happened this week alone, I mean, the ODU game is an absolute killer. Up 28-0, Lane, the number touched as high as 6.5 before it came back. What happened in the Marshall with the UTSA game, the quarterback before, the day of, that news. And then you made a point last week to say the Syracuse over looked like a really good bet. And that number completely moved all the way up to like 61. By the way, you're not the only one. Other people were reaching out to me and saying, yeah, that's the right side. Then we found out Monday, the quarterback for Syracuse needs shoulder surgery. He's not going to play. As a guy who does this for a living and you love college football, are you treading lightly moving forward with bowl games?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm in on a majority of the bowl games already for this season, but moving forward, I have enough data points now. You never want to overreact to a small sample size, but there's enough where it's almost every single game where, it's still it's all about information. It's just the information is constantly changing where even a guy like myself, I don't feel necessarily comfortable making 40 bowl bets as soon as the bowl lines come out. Now, will I still attack some of those markets? Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to probably play against teams that have an interim coach because they're a lot more likely to have a bunch of transfers. I'll play against teams that have that, top 10 NFL pick at quarterback. But other than that, I mean, I can tell you that some of these smaller bowl games, it just, unless I perceive myself to have a significant edge, it's just, I'm not going to bet it until I get some further information, because I've been on the wrong end of so many of these already in the bowl seasons. It's kind of soured me. It's, Scott Van Pelt had the quote of the week so far, not going to be a Christmas, kids. Daddy bet Old Dominion.
Yes. It was ridiculous. Yeah. You still like Syracuse? I mean, by, what is it, a couple hours from with South Florida to Boca Raton, but with Christmas 4 days away, I can't imagine they're excited for this. 2 6-6 teams.
Yeah, I mean, at 3, that's about where I'd make it, is 3. So, I mean, it's I'd bet South Florida above 3. I do think they're more excited, first-year coach to be in this one. Not only is the quarterback out for Syracuse, but also, I mean, I made a mistake and, not factoring in, it's supposed to be, 20-mile-an-hour winds tonight. So another, the damper as far as betting the over in this game. So honestly, at the current numbers, it's kind of a pass. I'm just praying and hoping that I get to the window on a really bad number betting the over.
How about tomorrow night as Georgia Tech takes on Central Florida? It's the only game on the schedule on a Friday night there, and Central Florida laying between 5.5 or 6. Another high total here of around 67.5.
First off, let me tap into, I know Pauly's really, fired up about this. How is there not more games on Friday?
Terrible.
I mean, there should have been at least a Friday afternoon game. If you can play a game on Monday afternoon at 2:30, I think you can play, a Friday afternoon game. But as far as the matchup here, honestly, this is the one bowl game I'm not involved in. Side or total, I think the over was the right side. It just came a little expensive early on in the bowl season, at least what I perceived to be. I probably should have made that bet because this bowl total's up a touchdown even from the opener. So I think it's going to be one of the better bowl matchups. I would lean more underdog here in Georgia Tech, even though a little bit of money's come in on Central Florida. I think Georgia Tech's very well coached, and I don't always trust Malzahn in these types of spots.
Yeah, we're on the same page. 7 games Saturday, and you're going against the NFL too. Which how about we start today with Troy and Duke?
Yeah, I mean, a tough one. I thought Troy was going to be a slam dunk bet here because, I mean, you look at Duke had an interim coach. Duke's is hit hard, probably a top 5 team as far as the amount of starters that are in the portal or leaving or going to the NFL draft. And it's not like Duke's, second string is overly talented. So a big drop off there. Problem is last week, Troy's head coach decided to take the job at Tulane. Really good hire for Tulane. So it's just kind of more of a lean on Troy here. They don't have too many opt-outs. It was late enough in the process where a lot of their guys didn't hit the portal or opted out. So I think Troy's the right side.
We talked to Paul Stone about this game earlier in the week, and we asked him, make a number between Duke and Troy earlier in the year. And he said, well, if this is coming on the heels of, obviously, the win against Clemson, when Duke was ranked, they were 4-0. And if it was at home, he said probably would have been double digits with Duke. And now there's no Riley Leonard and everything that you just mentioned. And look at now, it's that's probably fair, though, right? I mean, the way Duke was playing earlier in the year before the Notre Dame game and they got beat there, and the way Leonard was going, they would have been a huge favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd have had him double digits. I like Troy quite a bit, and I've liked Troy. And I haven't been as high on Duke, but yeah, it certainly, they'd have been about a touchdown favorite in my ratings.
Okay. Georgia State, Utah State. Utah State opened 3.5, getting 3.5, and now they're favored.
Yeah, as long as you can still get that 2.5 out there. I mean, crossing through 0 is not as significant a move, but I like Utah State here. If you need a best bet on Saturday and you want to, after it loses, you want to get on me on X, this is the game to do it. I know a lot of people are getting on me on leans. I'm like, what the heck? I didn't have that game. I just said that I think this particular game might have been the sharp side, and then that's where the market's going to go. But in this case, multitude of reasons. Number one, geographically, Utah State's used to playing on the blue turf. And Boise, Idaho. Georgia State's not. Also, Georgia State's got some, teams have different levels of opt-outs. Georgia State's are pretty significant. All their guys that have opted out have ended up at Power 5 programs. Their starting running back, their top wide receiver, their top offensive lineman have all went to SEC and ACC schools. So significant losses for Georgia State. Utah State for me minus the 2.5. Best bet.
Back to our original talking point here to begin the segment, Brad. When you have a game like this and it's flipped and you're on Utah State here at a really good number, are you looking at all to maybe middle these games live because of what has happened again going back? I mean, if for people who had Marshall plus the 12 before that number completely dropped and they're up 14-0, you're looking at a very good middle opportunity there. And then, of course, they blow the entire thing and they can't cover the 12. Is that something that you're peeking at, or you don't want to give away like any edge you have once the game is started?
No, that's a good question. Yeah, I think bowl games for a variety of reasons offer, very good in-game live betting opportunities. Number one, with these small schools, you just don't have, every single book carrying, them live play after play, second half like you do, and because they're isolated TV games. They're the only games on. So I think for that reason, they make sense. And because bowl games are such high variance, if you want to get off a position, they give you some opportunities to do that. So, yeah, I am very pro. As negative as I've been pre-flop as far as what bowl seasons become, man, in-game live betting has become really good as far as bowls go.
The Utah State game's at 12:30 Pacific. So is the Armed Forces Bowl. James Madison and Air Force. Air Force comes in on a 4-game losing streak. James Madison's quarterback transferred. Great numbers, everything you run down in your newsletter. What do you think here that it's come down a little bit, but James Madison's short favorite?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, a lot of the James Madison, they got like 10 starters in the portal, but a lot of them have said they're going to play. I don't know. Can you trust them? Can you believe them at their word? I'll say this. If you're in the portal, are you fully locked in on preparing for a game? I'm not sure. You're taking phone calls. You got to know where you're going to go for next season. Obviously, James Madison lost their head coach. So I know it's their first bowl game ever in school history. I know that they relatively should be fired up. I know the fact that if all things were equal and these teams were at 100% down the stretch, James Madison probably be favored by 7 or so. But I like Air Force. Here's one thing that I don't have to worry about: a service academy. I'm not worried about effort, motivation, service academy. And you don't believe me? Look at, since it's become a trend to opt out, not be motivated for a bowl game. Air Force has won and covered their last 4 bowl games. Navy's won and covered 5 of their last 6 bowl games. Army has won and covered 4 of their last 5 bowl games. So I trust service academies in this era. Give me Air Force outright.
That's a great breakdown there. A guy that you could always trust or usually trust in a big bowl game would be Kyle Whittingham at Utah. But now, all things considered, it's a Las Vegas Bowl, which has been great over the years in terms of the matchups. Kind of a drop-off here for Utah, especially when they've been in the playoff mix in the conversation anyway. This number has dropped. Do you agree with that move?
I do agree with that move. I think Northwestern's the sharp side. Now, am I running the window to get it now that it's dropped through a key number 7? No, but pizza bet for me on Northwestern. I know they're excited. Obviously, the interim coach deservedly got the full-time gig there. They've been – I don't question their effort week in and week out. Utah's got a bunch of guys out. I know they'll have the fan edge here, but Northwestern for me.
We'll continue with Brad Powers, professional sports bettor up next year, and follow the money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. His website, bradpowersports.com, on X at BradPower7. We will get into the Hawaii Bowl with Coastal Carolina against San Jose State. That number has been all over the place. And also what Brad makes the FCS title game between Montana and South Dakota State coming up here on VSiN.
NBA action, baby. Great start to the season. And new customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 at DraftKings. Download the app now. Use code FOLLOW. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code FOLLOW. The crown is yours.
We continue talking bowl betting season with professional sports bettor Brad Powers on X at BradPower7. Website, BradPowersports.com. The Hawaii Bowl is played on the 23rd, and of course this number has moved from around a touchdown to, got as high as 10.5. I don't know if it got any higher than that, maybe, and I missed it, but now back down to 9 at some spots this morning, Brad. And Matt Humans brought this game up to us on Tuesday, and he mentioned like the 20 kids who are going to be hitting the transfer portal from Coastal Carolina. I'm like, man, if I'm 20 years old in that range, and I had a free trip on the horizon to Hawaii, there's no chance I'm going to transfer. I'd take that first before I do anything. So Strange, do we know, though, those kids are definitely not making the trip? They're not going to play in this game?
Yeah, majority of them aren't. But I'll say this, that's why you got to sift through the 20 guys. A lot of those guys weren't like high-impact kids. Now, obviously, Grayson McCall would be, but he's been banged up. The backup quarterback also hit the portal. But the third string, if you've been paying attention to Coastal Carolina, has actually had a few starts this year and actually played well and far exceeded expectations. So Vasco's the name of the kid. Looks like he's going to get the start for Coastal.
Okay. How about Tuesday? Quick Lane Bowl. Did you get Bowling Green +6 and you still like it now, Minnesota 4? Yeah,
I lean with BG still, although I'm in the markets, moved a little too much. Sneaky. I didn't think more people would be on this, but I bet the over, and that's also gotten some money. You don't have to worry about weather, obviously, even though it's played in Detroit in December, obviously at Ford Field. But it kind of screams like a carefree type of game. Minnesota, I know, is down to a third-string quarterback, but their quarterback play has been so bad all year that I don't think it's that significant of a downgrade. At the current numbers, I would bet over more than anything.
Okay, Tuesday night, Kansas and UNLV?
I like Kansas. It's a rare team that I think is a double-digit favorite that'll be relatively motivated. Why? Kansas hasn't won a bowl game in 15 years. I know they lost their OC, but I'll tell you, the transfer portal and everything going around kind of gives you a sneak peek to the culture in the locker room. Kansas has hardly anybody in the portal. So, I'm a big fan of Lance Leopold. UNLV, you saw it at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Great season. 10-1 against the number. Best ATS team in the country, first 11 games. And then when the games really started meaning something and they were punching a little bit above their weight class against some better teams in the Mountain West, came up short. That'll be the case again here. And Kansas wins comfortably.
Yeah, good call on that. Mm-hmm. Now, on the opposite side of the portal, USC is seemingly losing like 5-star kids or really good recruits almost every day. That is a slight exaggeration, but it feels like, I don't know, maybe the writing is on the wall here for Lincoln Riley. Maybe he goes to the NFL. They're catching 8 this morning against Louisville next Wednesday. What do you make of that number?
Yeah, it's not necessarily pro-USC. It's more of an anti-Louisville. Louisville, lost a couple of their top playmakers. Their starting running back, Jordan, who I think is really good, an explosive player. Thrash at wide receiver is a really good player. So I'm not sure I want to be laying more than a touchdown, even against the USC team I do not like. I'm more on the take there. Is it a big bet? No, but that's where I'm leaning there on USC.
What do you make of Riley's future at USC?
Yeah, I did another show and we were talking about this. I think 3 letters sums up the Lincoln Riley's future, NFL. Don't expect him to be a long-term there at USC. Just I don't see it.
Okay. Wednesday afternoon, Military Bowl. Big movement here. Fritz takes the Houston job and leaves Tulane Vodtech from 5.5 up to 10.
Yeah, the old tout service gave out Virginia Tech as my strongest play of the year because I did when it was 5.5. I didn't think the Pratt news was fully priced in. I thought there'd be a lot more transfers for Tulane out, obviously losing their head coach. And just generally speaking, I think Tulane was a fraudulent team this year and finally got exposed in the American championship game against the SMU team with a backup quarterback. And I'm here to tell you, SMU turned the football over a bunch, settled for 4 field goals. That should have been like a 3-touchdown SMU win. Yep. I think Virginia Tech as a program is ascending a little bit under a second-year coach. You saw how they finished the season, blowout win over their rival. I like Virginia Tech quite a bit here. Now, do I like, am I running the window to late 10 when it was 5? No, but I would still lean Virginia Tech at the current number.
We've mentioned the horrific schedule a couple times here. This one takes the cake. FCS title game going against Week 18 of the NFL on a Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. You took 4. Can you believe the line? You took 14.5 South Dakota State against Montana?
Yeah, I took 14.5 with Montana. Not that I really love Montana, but I just thought that would likely come down to a relatively key number of 14. Now, no one's going to believe this, but I do power rate FCS games. I literally go through every box score of every single FCS game each week. Adjust my power ratings. I'm at 12.5, so it looks like a pretty efficient number right now for me. I wouldn't make a bet right now on the side.
Okay. How about some transfer news and what you thought of the quarterbacks and where their landing spots are going to be? What do you make of Van Dyke going to Wisconsin?
I'll say slight upgrade over Tanner Mordecai. Nothing that's going to get me, oh, wow. I mean, I can't wait to bet Wisconsin over their win total, especially against a tough schedule. They got Alabama in the non-conference, plus all the teams coming in from the Pac-12. So I think it'd be a much better football team and still be like 7-5-ish.
What percentage would you put on Will Howard moving from K-State to USC? And then if he lands there, do you like that move?
I put it at like 90% right now because, I mean, that has to be the move for USC. They have to get this one done. Otherwise, I mean, who the heck's going to play quarterback for him next year? So, yeah, I think that's reading the tea leaves. That's almost a done deal. Do I like it? Yeah, I do like it quite a bit. I think does it make USC a national title contender? No. Again, they face a really tough schedule next year going to the Big Ten, plus playing LSU in the opener right here in Vegas. But what it does do is probably prevent a catastrophic season for them. Then I think Will Howard gives them a nice floor there where I think they can still be 7-5, 8-4.
All right, same conference, the recruiting stuff this week, and you tweeted this out about Colorado. Based on who Dion has landed in this cycle, I mean, it's looking kind of bleak, and that might be a little conservative here and too nice for that program. Sanders going to play next year. What do you make of Colorado's future here with him as the head coach?
Yeah, I mean, I know what the plan is for 2024. Hit the portal again. Let's, try to prop up our line of scrimmage. They've done a decent job, I guess, on offense and defensive lines. But, I mean, there's really no one at the line of scrimmage that, oh, wow, I mean, that's a really high-impact player for them. And then my concern is, and my tweet that's blowing up, is I don't know what the plan is after 2024 because, I mean, you got a recruiting class of 6 right now. And honestly, the 5-star kid, the offensive lineman, probably is going to sign. So you're down to 5 guys as a freshman class. You cannot rely on 30 guys in the portal every year and have good culture, have good consistency. Just can't happen. If that was the case and the portal was the answer, why isn't Nick Saban doing it? Dabo Swinney, Ryan Day, Harbaugh. Let's not develop our own kids. Let's just hit the portal. I mean, if that was the answer, those guys would be doing it. So I don't like Colorado's future beyond this upcoming season.
Are we done for the most part with almost any tier of a program in college football bringing in a 17, 18-year-old kid at quarterback, maybe redshirting him, and developing him for 3 or 4 years before he goes on to the NFL? Are those days pretty much done?
At the top level of college football, those days are done. You're not gonna see that anymore moving forward. You're not. Now you can maybe see it at the Group of 5 level and stuff like that, but nope. Alabama's of the world, Notre Dame's, Ohio State's, they're not doing it.
Boy, oh boy, doesn't that kind of stink?
I mean, a lot of things stink about what's going on in college football right now. So, I mean, I don't want to get old man grumpy here, but I got to think within 5-10 years, we're going to say, what the hell did we do to what a lot of people, including myself, the sport that we've loved our entire lives.
Yep, I don't disagree. Great stuff as always. Follow Brad on X. He's at BradPowers7. The website is BradPowersports.com. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and good luck this week, Brad.
Right back at you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Yep.
You got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
it starts with the TV networks. Pac-12's gone. Yeah, a lot of it they did it to themselves, but
it's going to turn.
Now you see Florida State's ticked off too and looking to leave based on what happened.
I think college football is going to turn into college basketball. Mm-hmm. Forget about these programs developing a 5-star McDonald's All-American kid who would come there and play for 3 years. I mean, those days are long gone, obviously, in college hoops. But I think Brad's probably onto something there, where that's going to be rare now. Like the Arch Manning going to Texas.
$3 million hasn't played?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
That kid, if he where would he not be able to go next year and play? Uh-huh. Anywhere he wants. That's not going to happen anymore. USC is going to bring in a transfer every single year, evidently. Programs like that.
How about Ohio State? I mean, they lose, one game, and then that's it. McCord leaves.
Immediately.
Couldn't wait. Yeah, we got to upgrade here.
The morning after the bowl game is announced, no, I'm out. I can't do this here anymore. All right, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mike Palm's going to join us in studio coming up next, the VP of this great resort in Las Vegas. A lot to get into. His Coach of the Year in the NFL, his MVP in the league, and have we had further discussions about a chop for $9.2 million in Circa Survivor? We'll ask him next here on VSiN.